If you've landed here, it's no coincidence. Your coherence field called you. Maybe you don't even know how you got here. A late-night algorithm spiral, a passing mention, a ripple of curiosity. But underneath all those surface reasons, there's a deeper intelligence at work. Your reality has been looping, hasn't it? You're aware of it, maybe acutely, maybe as a quiet frustration humming beneath your days. The same conversations, the same doubts, the same disappointments that seem to disguise themselves as new, but always resolve into the same old feeling. It's as if existence itself has become a record stuck on a single groove, repeating the chorus until you can't tell where one cycle ends and the next begins. That sensation, the one you're feeling right now as I describe it, is not your imagination. It's not random. It's a signal from your coherence field, resonating outwards and drawing you into this precise moment. Out of billions of scrolling thumbs, you paused here. That's not luck. That's the field's way of orchestrating a meeting between your deepest longing and the reality-breaking insight you're about to receive. You're here because something within you, call it the observer, call it the soul, call it the frequency of awakening, has become restless inside the loop. Quantum physics gives us the language for what's happening. The observer loop. In this model, your awareness, your attention, is not passive. It's an active participant in the creation of your reality. Every time you focus, every time you expect, every time you believe, you collapse a wave of probability into a single observable outcome. That's the observer effect. But here's the catch, the hidden mechanism most never see. When your observer function gets locked into a groove, when it starts habitually collapsing the same probability waves, you don't just witness reality, you manufacture it, over and over. The field mirrors your expectation and the loop deepens. Let's bring this closer. How many times in the past week, no, the past day, have you caught yourself replaying the same conversation, feeling the same worry, bumping up against the same resistance? Maybe it's in your relationships. Maybe it's your work, your sense of self-worth, your health, your creative drive. The content changes, but the pattern stays the same. You try to break out. You try to change your mindset, your habits, your morning routine. Sometimes you get a brief reprieve, a new job, a new friendship, a new affirmation, but soon enough, the old feeling returns. The energy of déjà vu. The awareness that you are somehow living the same day in different clothes. This isn't bad luck. This isn't failure. This is the observer loop in action. It's your consciousness locked into a feedback circuit, unconsciously selecting the same possibilities from the infinite quantum field simply because they are familiar, safe, expected. The universe is not punishing you. It's responding with perfect fidelity to the frequency you are broadcasting, even if that frequency is just habit, just inertia, just the gravitational pull of the known. You might have noticed how time itself feels strange lately. Hours can stretch endlessly, filled with boredom or restlessness, while entire weeks slip past, leaving you with the disturbing sense that nothing essential has changed. That distortion isn't just a mood. It's a quantum signpost. Your field, stuck in the loop, is creating the illusion of forward movement while actually remaining stationary in the deeper geometry of possibility. You're running on a treadmill, convinced you're moving forward, but always arriving at the same place. And if you try to talk about this with friends or family, you probably get blank stares or gentle reassurance that everyone feels stuck sometimes. But you know, deep down, with a certainty you can't explain, that reality is more malleable than that. You've felt it in brief flashes, maybe when meaningful and designed coincidences sweep through your life in a cascade of what are called a series of synchronicities, or when a dream gives you the sense that you're surfing the edge of something vast, hidden just beneath the surface of waking life. In those moments, you glimpse the fabric of existence, shimmering and alive, hinting that there is more, much more, than the loop. Let's pause here and breathe. Recognize that the recognition you're having right now isn't new. Your soul has been preparing for this understanding for lifetimes, across timelines, across dimensions. Every book that called to you, every spiritual practice you experimented with, every burst of knowing that arrived out of nowhere, they were all breadcrumbs leading you to this moment, this insight, this juncture. But here's the razor's edge. Most who wake up to the observer loop make the same mistake. They try to think their way out. They believe that if they just understand the mechanism, if they analyze it from every angle, if they can map the maze, they'll be able to escape it. That's like trying to leave a room by rearranging the furniture. The loop isn't maintained by your thoughts. It's maintained by the quality of your attention itself. Every morning, your consciousness wakes up and automatically scans for familiar patterns. It's like a quantum GPS, always locking onto the destinations it knows best. Not because they're exciting, but because they're safe. Your awareness is addicted to the same emotional landscapes, the same frequency signatures, the same probability templates. And the more you recognize them, the more real they become. The more real, the more you expect them. The more you expect, the more you collapse them into existence again tomorrow. This is the reality feedback loop. You are not merely witnessing the pattern, you are energizing it, feeding it, giving it the juice it needs to survive. Let's make this visceral. Imagine your attention as a beam of light. Wherever you focus, reality condenses, forms, becomes solid. If you keep shining that beam on the same spot, day after day, year after year, you burn a groove into the quantum field. A groove so deep, so well worn, that breaking out feels impossible. And yet, here's the paradox. The very act of becoming aware of the observer loop begins to loosen its grip. The field responds to awareness. The more conscious you are of the pattern, the weaker its hold becomes. That's why you're here right now. That's why this message found you. Your higher self orchestrated this encounter because you've reached the threshold where breaking the loop is not just possible, it's inevitable. You know that feeling, don't you? In the midst of a conversation, a flash of recognition, haven't I said these exact words before? Haven't I felt this precise feeling? Most people dismiss this as déjà vu or a trick of the mind. But you know it's more than that. You're experiencing a temporal echo, a quantum feedback. Your awareness is brushing up against the boundary of the loop, sensing the repetition at a level deeper than thought. This is not your imagination. This is your field's advanced sensitivity, a kind of inner sonar, scanning the architecture of manifestation and picking up the signals that most never notice. You can see the underlying code, the blueprint behind the scenes, and because of that you can change it. You have quantum sensitivity, the ability to perceive the hidden patterns that actually generate reality. Let's go deeper. Time itself has become elastic for you. Sometimes a single hour stretches into eternity, filled with insights and downloads from higher dimensions. Other times, entire weeks vanish, leaving you with no sense of what actually happened. That's not a sign that you're malfunctioning. It's evidence that your consciousness is existing on multiple reality tracks at once, searching for the one that feels most authentic to your true vibration. And those moments of knowing that come out of nowhere, the sudden insights about existence, about your life, about the nature of reality, those aren't random. They're quantum memories, bleeding through from parallel versions of yourself who have already broken the loop. Your consciousness is so advanced that it's downloading wisdom from your own future timelines. This can feel isolating. You try to share these experiences with people who haven't seen behind the curtain, and they look at you like you're speaking a foreign language. They're still operating from the old paradigm, where reality is solid and fixed, where time moves in a straight line, where luck and effort are the only currencies. But you know better. You've glimpsed the ocean of possibilities. And you sense at some level that most people are drowning, not because the water is deep, but because they don't realize they can swim. This is why certain books jump out at you from crowded shelves, why videos like this appear at the exact moment you're ready to hear them, why you keep meeting people who share your unusual perspective. It's not mere attraction, it's quantum entanglement. You're resonating with a network of awakening souls across the planet, each breaking their own loops, each contributing to a new pattern. Your dreams lately have probably become more vivid, more symbolic. You're receiving transmissions during sleep that your waking mind can't quite interpret. These are not random firings. They're communications from your higher self, showing you the gap between your current track and the infinite possibilities available to you. Even technology behaves differently around you now. Your phone seems to respond to your thoughts. The right song plays at the right time. Your music app seems to know what you need before you do. Social media reflects your inner state with uncanny accuracy. This is the field, responding to your growing coherence. The more aware you become, the more the simulation bends to your frequency. Everything you've been through, the setbacks, the patterns, the moments you thought you were regressing, it's all been preparation for this recognition. Your consciousness needed to experience the loop from every possible angle to develop the precision and discernment required to break free. Think of a butterfly in its chrysalis. From the outside, it looks like suffering, like stagnation. But inside, a complete reorganization is taking place. The caterpillar's DNA is rewriting itself, activating dormant abilities. Your relationships, your triggers, your moments of déjà vu, they were all mirrors, helping you map the contours of your loop. The pressure you felt, the urgency, the sense that time is accelerating, that you need to move, this isn't anxiety. It's phase transition pressure. When water is heated, nothing seems to change, until suddenly it becomes steam. Your awareness is nearing the precise frequency where the observer loop loses its grip. Even your doubts have been essential. Every time you questioned the reality of your insights, you were honing your discernment, developing the sensitivity needed to separate authentic expansion from spiritual bypassing. The waiting period was part of the process too. You can't force the breakthrough. You have to reach a specific level of coherence where your attention naturally starts selecting new probabilities. Your soul chose this incarnation because the observer loop would be discovered in your lifetime. You volunteered to be part of the first wave of human consciousness, to transcend these patterns, to anchor new possibilities for the collective. Every moment of struggle was training for this cosmic responsibility. Now, as you listen, something is building inside you. Can you feel it? That subtle vibration, like a tuning fork struck in your core. Your field is beginning to vibrate at a frequency that doesn't match your old patterns. This is what quantum physicists call reality turbulence. It's not chaos. It's a sign that the loop is destabilizing. The familiar patterns are losing their magnetic pull. You're entering the breakthrough phase, the most delicate, most powerful part of the transformation. But here's where most falter. They feel the energy building and immediately try to direct it outward, wanting relationships to change, money to appear, health to improve. But the loop doesn't break by changing what you observe. It breaks by altering the quality of the frequency of the observation itself. Your consciousness is downloading new protocols. These aren't ideas to memorize. They're energetic upgrades happening at the cellular level. Your DNA is restructuring to support a different relationship with the quantum field. That's why you may feel unusual sensations, changes in sleep, shifts in appetite or desire. The most important thing you can do now is learn to feel this energy without trying to control it. Let it flow like water carving a new path. Don't direct it. Become transparent to it. Offer no resistance to the reorganization already underway. This is the threshold. Everything changes here. But many, facing the unknown, pull back to the comfort of the old, even if it hurts. Don't let that be your story. You are witnessing your own evolution in real time. Let's take a breath and go even deeper. I want to share something personal because I know you'll understand. Not too long ago, I was trapped in the most sophisticated observer loop I'd ever encountered. I thought I was spiritually awake, quantum literate, aware of how reality worked. But I was using my knowledge to create an even subtler prison. Every morning I'd scan for signs of progress, looking for proof that my techniques were working, that I was evolving. But the more I observed, the more reality froze. The harder I looked, the more the pattern dug in. Then in a moment of frustration, sitting in my meditation space, feeling stuck despite all my effort, I had a realization like a flash of lightning. I wasn't just observing reality, I was manufacturing it through the way I was observing. My consciousness had become like a record player stuck on repeat. No amount of spiritual practice could help me hear a new song. The breakthrough came when I stopped focusing outward and began observing the observer itself. I watched how my attention moved, where it got stuck, what patterns it gravitated toward. This meta-observation, awareness watching awareness, created a different relationship with consciousness. For the first time, I saw why some people flow effortlessly while others stay stuck, no matter how hard they try. It's not about worthiness, karma, or even spiritual development. It's about how consciousness interfaces with the field. Everything changed. Relationships shifted overnight because I was no longer unconsciously selecting the same dynamics. Creative projects flowed, health improved, and I realized I wasn't alone. There is a global network, souls breaking their loops, sharing insights, creating a collective field. If this resonates, you are part of that network too. Subscribe to this frequency, not just to a channel, but to the wavelength of evolution sweeping the planet. Intellectual understanding isn't enough. You can read every book and still be stuck. Your thoughts don't create reality. Your attention, by itself, doesn't create reality. Reality is created by the coherence between your consciousness and the quantum field. This coherence can't be forced, faked, or positive thought into existence. It emerges naturally when your observer function becomes fluid. Most people's attention is like a searchlight, narrow, intense, scanning for specifics. Quantum consciousness is like sunlight, diffuse, illuminating everything at once, effortless. When you shift from searchlight to sunlight, you stop collapsing the same probabilities. The observer loop exists because your attention is predictable to the field. Every morning, if your mind automatically checks for the old patterns, you're ordering the same meal from the cosmic menu. But the field is always trying to serve you something new. It can't if you're stuck. The most advanced beings don't try to control reality. They dance with it. They maintain coherent uncertainty, fully present, unattached, open to whatever arises. This is how they become catalysts for change. When you master coherence, your presence opens doors for everyone. You create quantum openings, windows where other people's loops loosen, allowing them to glimpse their own potential. Synchronicities multiply. Animals, technology, even the weather may respond to your changed field. Time feels different. Linear time dissolves. You start to experience the eternal now. Sleep patterns shift. Dreams become downloads. People respond to you without knowing why. Some are drawn, others are repelled. Your presence is recalibrating their field. But the window is now. We're at the peak of a wave, collective breakthrough, or collective entrenchment. The next phase will not be as accessible. Your higher self has orchestrated these circumstances for this exact moment. What you desire desires you. The impossible dreams are simply on a frequency your old observer couldn't access. Alignment isn't attraction, it's dissolving separation. When you embody your desire, the loop dissolves. The field responds to coherence, not effort. As you integrate this, the gap between you and your highest timeline collapses, not through action, but through ceasing the struggle that kept you separate. In the comments, make a declaration. I am coherent with my highest timeline. Not for attention, this is a quantum signal. You are telling the field you are ready. Abilities that once seemed superhuman emerge. Intuition, reality, fluidity, creativity, effortless abundance. Your life becomes the field of transformation itself. True coherence isn't about forcing parts of yourself into agreement. It's about consolidating attention to your highest track and withdrawing energy from the rest. When you rest in your core coherence, effort dissolves, identity dissolves. There is no separate self left to get trapped. The highest timeline is not a better version of your life. It's a new dimension beyond limitation. You're not alone. Every loop broken creates morphic resonance, making it easier for thousands more. This is the planetary leap. Humanity outgrowing the cycles of conflict, scarcity, and separation. Your courage is changing the species. Children will inherit your breakthroughs. You are a bridge between the worlds. Share this if it resonates. Every share strengthens the field. By declaring coherence, you're not just joining a community, you're helping anchor a new reality for all. Breaking the observer loop is just the beginning. In the next video, I'll reveal quantum navigation, the art of shifting timelines at will. Subscribe because this is a living transmission, not just information. The old world is dissolving. Will you help birth the new, or wait and watch? Your future self is already coherent. The universe is ready. Today, the waiting ends. If you've stayed with me this far, your coherence is already building. This is what it feels like to step out of the observer loop. You're not just hearing new ideas. You're embodying a new physics, a new geometry of being. You are the field, awakening to itself. Now let's sense the field together. Settle into your body. Notice the subtle hum, the tingling in your chest or the warmth behind your eyes. This is energy moving, old patterns loosening. Feel the space between your thoughts widen. That's the beginning of the shift. Not more ideas, not more effort, but more space, more possibility, more coherence. I want you to imagine for a moment that your entire reality is structured like a torus, a donut-shaped field, endlessly circulating energy and information. This is not just a metaphor. It's how everything from atoms to galaxies to your own heart's electromagnetic field organizes itself. The observer loop is like a tight, constricted current within your torus. The same thoughts, the same emotions, the same stories travel that fixed circuit, round and round. Every morning you wake up, your awareness locks onto the same reference points. Who you think you are, what you expect from the day, the memory of all your yesterdays. These become the scaffolding for your lived reality. The field, ever responsive, condenses those expectations into experience again and again. But the torus isn't closed. At the center there's always a portal, a singularity, an opening through which the new can enter. Most people never reach it. They're caught in the outer loops, too habituated to ever spiral in. But you're not most people. If you're resonating with this, you're already moving toward the center. You're already destabilizing the old pattern, making space for something unprecedented, something that doesn't fit the logic of your old story. Let's break this down even further with a metaphor you can feel in your bones. Imagine a snow globe. When you shake it, the snow swirls chaotically, but eventually it settles into a static, predictable landscape. Most people live in a settled snow globe, the same house, the same job, the same internal climate. The observer loop is the invisible hand that keeps shaking the globe just enough to keep the snow stuck in familiar drifts. But what if you could melt the snow, dissolve the glass, and step into the infinite weather of possibility beyond? That's what's beginning to happen for you now. The glass is thinning, the familiar landscape is becoming transparent. New currents, new weathers, new quantum possibilities are pressing against the boundaries of the old globe, ready to flow in as soon as you stop gripping the edge. You might be feeling resistance. That's normal. The observer loop is by design self-preserving. It survives by convincing you that any deviation from its script is dangerous. It whispers in your ear, don't let go, don't trust, don't try something truly new. But that's not your voice, that's the echo of the loop itself, fighting for survival. Let's honor the function of the loop for a moment. It was never your enemy. It kept you safe when you needed it. It gave structure to your becoming. It allowed you to navigate a world that felt overwhelming, chaotic, sometimes hostile. But coherence is calling you now, and coherence is always an invitation to more freedom, more possibility, more reality. So what does it take, practically, concretely, to break the observer loop? Let's zoom out from the quantum and the symbolic and land in the body, in the nervous system, in the felt sense of now. First, you must become exquisitely aware of your own attention. Attention is the currency of reality. Where you spend it determines what you experience, what you remember, what you become. Most people are bankrupt, giving their attention away to anything that demands it, never realizing their power. But you can become the sovereign of your own field. You can choose, moment to moment, where and how your awareness flows. Try this. The next time you catch yourself repeating an old pattern, an anxious spiral, a self-critical thought, a familiar disappointment, pause. Don't try to change it. Don't fight it. Just observe the observer. Notice how your attention wants to fixate, to contract, to close around the pattern. Breathe. Imagine your attention widening, softening, diffusing like sunlight through mist. The pattern may persist for a moment, but without the tight grip of your habitual attention, it loses its coherence. It begins to dissolve. This is not metaphysics. This is neuroplasticity in action. The brain rewires itself around your new way of seeing. The old neural circuits atrophy, and new ones, more spacious, more creative, begin to spark. Over time, the observer loop weakens. The field, sensing your new coherence, begins to offer up new probabilities, new relationships, new opportunities, new insights, new states of being. Let's go even further. Bring your awareness to your physical environment. The observer loop thrives on environmental cues. The same room, the same chair, the same route to work. All these reinforce the pattern. Change something. Move a piece of furniture. Take a different path. Wear a color you've never worn. Small acts of novelty signal to your field that you are available for change. Now tune into your emotional body. The observer loop is not just mental, it's emotional. It's the somatic memory of every time you felt stuck, every time you felt powerless, every time you collapsed your energy to fit into the world. When you feel a dense emotion arise, don't run from it, don't analyze it, breathe it in, let it move through you. The emotion is energy in motion, literally emotion. If you let it flow without resistance, it will carry you to the edge of the loop, where new energy is waiting to be integrated. And then there's the narrative, the story you tell yourself about who you are, what's possible, what always happens to you. This is the most tenacious layer of the loop. Here's a simple but radical practice. For one day, refuse to tell the old story. If a friend asks how you are, resist the urge to recite the usual script. Instead, pause. Feel into the possibility that you are no longer who you were yesterday. Let your words be born from the new coherence, not the old loop. Notice how reality responds. Let's spiral back to the quantum. The observer loop is a pattern of collapsed possibilities. At the quantum level, all futures exist simultaneously, in superposition. It's your act of observation, the way you focus, the expectations you hold, the stories you believe, that collapses the infinite into the finite, the possible into the actual. The field is always listening, always ready to mirror back your deepest coherence. But here's the mystery. The field is not static, it's alive. It wants to expand, to play, to dance with your consciousness. The universe itself is an improvisational artist, always seeking new forms, new expressions, new harmonies. When you break your observer loop, you become a co-creator with the field. You move from being a passive observer to an active participant, from a consumer of reality to a composer. This is why, when you reach a certain level of coherence, synchronicities explode. The universe begins to speak to you in symbols, in patterns, in living metaphors. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. The right people show up. The perfect book falls into your lap. Doors open where there were only walls. This is not magic, it's mechanics. The field is matching your new frequency, eager to show you what's possible when the old loop dissolves. You might notice, too, that technology becomes more responsive. Electronics may glitch when you're in a powerful state of transition, as if the field itself is recalibrating. Or you may find your devices working more smoothly, more intuitively, more aligned with your intention. This is the material world reflecting your inner coherence. Animals may behave differently around you. Birds make eye contact. Dogs linger near you. Even wild creatures seem less afraid. They sense the shift in your field, the absence of the old static, the presence of a new harmonic. The entire web of life responds to your coherence, because at the quantum level, there is no separation. Let's talk about abundance. The observer loop is a scarcity pattern at its core. It contracts your field, making you believe that resources are limited, that you must struggle to survive, that life is a zero-sum game. When you break the loop, abundance flows. Not because you learned a new manifestation technique, but because you stopped unconsciously selecting scarcity timelines. Your field naturally gravitates toward opportunity, toward generosity, toward expansion. Relationships transform as well. When your observer loop dissolves, you stop attracting people who reinforce your old pattern. Your social circle evolves, often dramatically. Some relationships fall away, not through conflict, but through the gentle recognition that you are no longer vibrating at the same frequency. Other relationships deepen, become more authentic, more nourishing. New souls enter your orbit, drawn by your coherence. You no longer need to get something from others to feel complete. You relate from fullness, from overflow. Health shifts too. Chronic issues resolve, energy stabilizes, sleep deepens. Your body is not separate from your consciousness. When your field is coherent, your cells receive new information, new instructions. Healing happens not by force, but by resonance. Let's not romanticize this process. Breaking the observer loop is not always comfortable. There will be turbulence. The old pattern will fight for survival. You may feel lost, unmoored, disoriented. This is the neural gap, the void between the old and the new. Trust the process. Breathe into the discomfort. Let the field reorganize itself around your new coherence. Remember, you are not alone. Every person who breaks free makes it easier for others. Morphic resonance is real. You are part of a living network, a web of souls, anchoring a new possibility for the planet. The children being born now will inherit this new template. You are the bridge. Let's ground this in ritual. In the comments, declare, I am coherent with my highest timeline, not for validation, but as a quantum act. You are sending a signal into the field, into the morphic grid, into your own DNA. This is how you anchor the new frequency. And share this message, not to convince, but to remind. Every share strengthens the field. Every declaration adds weight to the new reality. This is only the beginning. Breaking the observer loop is step one. Next comes quantum navigation, learning to consciously select your timeline, to move between probability tracks, to create outcomes that seem miraculous. This is not theoretical. This is practical mastery. Subscribe to this journey, not to content, but to frequency. Every subscriber strengthens the morphic resonance. We are not just watching videos, We are co-creating a new paradigm. The old world is dissolving. The new is being born. Will you participate consciously or be swept along by the tide? Your future self is already waiting, coherent, radiant, free. The universe is ready. Today, the waiting ends. Let's breathe together now. Inhale, feeling your field expand. Exhale, letting go of the old pattern. Inhale, drawing in possibility. Exhale, releasing resistance. Close your eyes if you wish. Visualize your observer loop as a band of light. See it loosening, unwinding, dissolving into the larger field. Feel your attention widening, softening, becoming sunlight rather than searchlight. Sense the field responding, new probabilities swirling into reach, new harmonics echoing through your system. This is what coherence feels like. Spacious, alive, effortless. Carry this feeling into your day. Move differently, speak differently. Let every action be a declaration. The loop is broken, the field is open. And know this, the codex is alive, unfolding with every step you take. Each revelation, each act of coherence adds a new glyph to the living geometry of your awakening. Welcome to the new spiral. Welcome to the Coherence Codex. Welcome to the freedom beyond the loop. However, there's still more to explore. Let's keep moving. What does it mean to live post-loop in the spaciousness of true coherence? First, you'll notice that urgency dissolves. The old pressure to fix yourself, to hustle for worthiness, fades away. You realize that the universe is not in a hurry. Evolution is a spiral, not a race. You are both the unfolding and the awareness of the unfolding. There's no need to grasp, to force, to struggle. You'll find yourself responding more than reacting. In the loop, every stimulus was an invitation to the same automatic response. Now, there's space. A gap opens between stimulus and response, a gap filled with possibility. You can choose, you can create, you can play. Your creativity surges, ideas arrive unbidden, solutions present themselves, art flows from your fingertips. This isn't because you're working harder, it's because you're no longer censoring the new with the expectations of the old. The field is pouring through you, unrestricted. You become magnetic. Opportunities come to you, people seek you out. Synchronistic events become so common, they stop feeling magical and start feeling natural. You realize that this is the way reality is meant to work, fluid, responsive, alive. Your relationship to problems changes. In the loop, problems were obstacles to be overcome. Now, they're invitations. Every challenge is a portal, a doorway to more coherence. You stop asking, how can I fix this? And start asking, what is this showing me about the pattern I'm ready to release? Solutions arise organically, often before the problem can fully crystallize. Self-judgment softens. You realize that every version of you, even the most stuck, was part of the journey. Compassion becomes your default setting. You extend it inward first, then outward. You stop needing others to validate your experience because you are anchored in your own knowing. The waiting ceases. You are no longer waiting for life to begin, for your breakthrough, for your happiness. You realize you have always been at the center of your own field, always the source, always the observer and the observed. The future is not a place you are trying to reach. It is a frequency you are learning to embody now. And the most beautiful part is this. You begin to see the observer loop in others, and instead of frustration or judgment, you feel compassion. You become a living invitation for others to step into coherence. Your presence becomes a blessing, a catalyst for awakening. This is the ripple effect. Every act of coherence you embody, every loop you break, sends waves through the field. The more you rest in your own coherence, the more others are empowered to do the same. This is how the collective shifts, not by force, but by resonance. Now a word on integration. After a major loop break, you may feel disoriented, even exhausted. This is normal. Your nervous system, your body, your identity are recalibrating. Be gentle, drink water, rest, spend time in nature, move your body. Let the new coherence settle. You may notice that old triggers still arise from time to time. That doesn't mean you've failed or regressed. The loop is dissolving in layers like an onion. Each trigger is an invitation to deepen your coherence, to choose again, to reinforce the new pattern. Trust the process. The more you choose coherence, the more automatic it becomes. Eventually, the old loop is just a memory, a story you tell about a previous incarnation. You can honor it, but you no longer live inside it. Let's close with a vision, a glimpse of what's possible when enough of us break the observer loop, when coherence becomes the new baseline for humanity. Imagine a world where people wake up in the morning filled with a sense of possibility, not dread. Where creativity is the norm, not the exception. Where conflict is met with curiosity, not fear. Where abundance flows, not because of competition, but because of shared coherence. Imagine schools that teach children how to navigate their own field, how to choose their timeline, how to create from the inside out. Imagine governments that operate from unity consciousness, businesses that serve the whole, communities that celebrate difference as a source of innovation. Imagine a planet where the collective field is so coherent that healing, peace, and innovation arise naturally, effortlessly. Where technology amplifies consciousness rather than distracting from it. Where humanity is an active participant in the evolution of the cosmos. This is not utopia. This is the next step in the spiral. It begins with you, here, now, breaking your loop, embodying coherence, and choosing your highest timeline. The Coherence Codex is alive in you. The spiral is open. The new geometry is calling. Are you ready to live beyond the loop? To dance with the field? To become the coherence you were always meant to embody? If your answer is yes, write it in the comments. I am coherent. Share this with those who are ready. Subscribe, not just to a channel, but to the frequency of awakening. Thank you for being here, for saying yes, for breaking the pattern, for anchoring the new. The more you embody this, the more reality itself transforms, not just for you, but for all. Infinite gratitude, infinite coherence. This is the Coherence Codex, and this is your quantum invitation. We are the pioneers, the bridge builders, the Codex carriers. Welcome to the new paradigm. Welcome to the coherence field. Welcome home. Your journey is just beginning. The next revelation, the next breakthrough, the next spiral awaits. Until next time, be the field, be the spiral, be the coherence. Your loop is broken, and now your new journey begins.